Hello. Today, our team, consisting of Eliran, Mert, and Lizzie, and myself, Sarah, will be presenting you four different companies in the energy industry who are contributing towards the green energy transition. We'll be discovering which company would be the best for you to invest in. So, first up, we have Vestas. Vestas is a wind turbine manufacturer that's one of the world's largest. And after the supply chain struggles within the industry, they're now valuable in scaling up to offshore wind farms that is required to meet the 2030 year targets. Second off, we have Iberdrola, which Iberdrola is based in Spain. However, they operate globally. They buy the technology to generate power, and their renewable energy incentives are moving aggressively towards switching from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And they have invested billions into wind, solar, and smart grids across Europe and the US. Third off, we have National Grid. National Grid does not generate nor manufacture power. They work in the industry to transport it. They they transfer high voltage networks within UK and the US, and they provide essential stability in the infrastructure. Their main focus right now is the Great Grid Upgrade, which is building physical wires to connect those wind farms to our daily uses. Next off, different from the previous companies, we have Berkeley Energia. They're, um, they are an upstream resource company focusing on discovering uranium and exploring it to produce a nuclear power. And their main asset is the Salamanca uranium project in Spain. And this represents the nuclear side of the renewable energy sector. And it is an essential fuel for covering the base load in the future, which the demand is going up every year. And this company have faced several regulatory limitations from the Spanish government, and right now they're currently locked in an international arbitration. And their success here depends on the legal procedures or the policy shifts purely.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to present the ratio analysis for the four companies by talking about the odd numbers out and explaining them. The first ratio we're going to look at is basic EPS. For the national grid, the odd number out is in 2023 when the EPS is four times the average EPS. The reason for that is because in 2023, the national grid company received a $8 billion investment, which made its EPS go up. There's for Iberdrola, for the past 4 years, it's been going up until suddenly in 2025 it's really low. The reason for that is because the share price increased dramatically, which decreases the EPS. The Vestas wind systems in 2022 actually had a negative EPS because of the pandemic. They're a wind turbine manufacturer, so materials inflated in price and supply chain had delays, so there were less sales, and the company actually lost money compared to its shares. And Berkeley Energia has almost zero EPS because it doesn't really have any income as a company. In reality, it's just a company that's waiting for a payout from a lawsuit to give it 1 billion euro. But for now, it doesn't really have any business activities going on. The current ratio, the liquidity of most of these companies is actually pretty consistent, except for Berkeley Energia. But the reason for this astronomical figure for Berkeley Energia is because they have 80 million Australian dollars in reserves, which they're using to pay for their lawsuit expenses. The company doesn't really have any current liabilities, which gives it a really high current ratio. Then we have return on equity, which actually mirrors in a lot of ways the PE ratio, the EPS ratio from the beginning. So the National Grid had a really high return on equity in 2023 because of the investment. The Iberdrola had a really high return on equity in 2024 because they actually had a merger with a Mexican electrical company. They canceled it for a total sum of $10 billion, which gave a really there was a lot less equity to return on. Vestas Wind Systems is the same pattern as in the EPS, and then Berkeley Energia actually raised $60 million in notes in 2022. And then we have the PE ratio. The PE ratio, the National Grid company has been pretty cheap to invest in, so has been Iberdrola. But then Vestas Wind Systems, actually in 2023, they diluted their shares by a lot, which gave them a really high PE ratio for 2023. And Berkeley Energia is almost zero because, again, the company doesn't really have any business activities at the moment.
In this part of our presentation, I am briefly going to compare the corporate social responsibility of four energy companies and explain which one is the most attractive to invest in. Starting with Vestas Wind Systems, the company shows very strong environmental leadership. It aims to reach net zero emission by 2030 and plans to produce zero waste wind turbines by 2040. It focuses on circular economic practices and is responsible for supply chain, which makes Vestas a strong sustainability driven company. Although all this effort, it still remains somewhat dependent on renewable energy policies, which can be a downside of this company to invest in. Moving on to Berkeley Energia, it holds several important environmental and safety certifications and also has invested significantly in local communities through afforestation and regional sourcing. However, the company faces major regulatory and political challenges, which creates a high level of uncertainty for the future investors. National Grid, meanwhile, takes a more stability focused approach. It has committed to net zero emissions across all three emission scopes and invests heavily in clean energy infrastructure. The company also shows strong governance and workforce development, making it a relatively low risk but slower transition option. And finally, the Iberdrola stands out as a global leader in renewable energy. Sustainability is fully integrated into its growth strategy through smart grids and clean electricity, and the company combines strong ESG performance with large scale and financial stability. Based on the ESG performance, risk level, and long-term stability, Iberdrola emerges as the most attractive investment option in our four energy companies, and it offers the best balance between sustainability and reliable long-term value, making it the strongest overall choice among the four energy companies that we were discussing.
I, what a word for sakin ol sakin ol. It's a Turkish word. You know, everyone knows Turkish. We okay. We have analyzed background of four companies and the financial performance of these four companies from 2022 to 2025 to answer one question: where should we invest our money? And after comparing valuation and the future risk, we have identified one clear winner, and it's Iberdrola. First, let's look at profitability. If you look at earning per share chart, you will see a perfect upward trend to Iberdrola. They went from 260s to 351, and this tells us to company is not just it's not just stable; it's becoming more profitable single year every single year. So and next, let's look at valuation. Um, is this stock expensive? We think no, because Iberdrola PE ratio remains steady between 15 and 17 range, and this is very healthy range compared to this to Vestas Wind System, which had a massive spike to 360 in 2023. That kind of volatility is dangerous for conservative investors. So we think Iberdrola offers stability. And finally, let's talk about their strategy. Their CCR reports highlights them as a global renewable energy leader. So investing in them is investing in the future of clean energy, and which minimize our long-term risk. Thank you for listening.